think you were in the UK when actually the club explosion came there, and 80s, I think, like summer of 89. Did you experience that in the UK?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was in Ibiza first time in 1987. Which was sort of supposed to be the summer of love, or the second summer of love. And I used to go to all those clubs, you know, Amnesia. We used to go and see all those early British DJs, you know, Paul Oakenfold, Danny Ramplin, Trevor Fong, whole list, Lisa Loud, you know, there's a whole posse. Some of them are still around, you know, some of them are really, really successful, like Paul Oakenfold. But there was something, you know, really unique about that whole experience, you know, going from sort of rainy London to Ibiza and, you know, partying, and it was a very hedonistic time. You know, things have changed, obviously, but it was a great time to be involved in you know, the dance scene. You know,
I think a lot of people are jealous that you experienced it. And
well, I mean, even sort of accidentally going to the Paradise Garage, which happened, you know, a long time before that. You know, I didn't know anything about the Paradise Garage. I didn't know how cool it was. I just got dragged there one morning, you know, at 4 o'clock in the morning, and sort of started to go there, but it wasn't until really it closed down and, you know, it was no more that I suddenly realized, oh my God, I was part of that. So, you know, I think if you are I think of myself as a bit of a social sponge, and I like to be around what's exciting, you know.
What has changed in the dance music scene the most in your eyes?
Well, again, you know, I think, you know, the audience to some degree dictates the art form, and I think that's always a bit of a worry. Things like, you know, these kind of reality shows like X Factor and Pop Idol, you know, they encourage that kind of process of the audience dictating what the art form is. And if you think about it, if that process had been around in 1970s when David Bowie came along, or Mark Bolan, or any of those kind of legendary people, what would have happened? You know, would Simon Cowell have said, oh no, that's never going to work, you know, get rid of the hair, take the earrings off, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel kind of privileged that I grew up in a time when, you know, you could still push the envelope, and there was still a way to go in terms of expressing yourself. I think the difference now is that, you know, music is much more kind of a commodity. I mean, there's always been that element in rock and roll and music, but I think it's just so overpowering now. You know, and I think, you know, everybody's making the same record. Everybody's using the same kind of vocal sounds. You know, when I listen to at home, I listen to Laura Marlin, people like that. You know, I listen to a lot of old shit. You know, my Spotify playlist is quite, you know, lots of Echo and the Bunnymen. You know, lots of Smith, Siouxsie and the Banshees. You know, I listen to a lot of old music at home.
Paul Oakenfold is not still here, and like the only one, but you entered the DJMag too.
Yes.
And do you think it's important for a DJ, for his career, or just as a DJ to be in that top 100?
I don't know if it's that important. I mean, I've always worked, so it hasn't really made much difference to, you know, to that. But yeah, I mean, I think at the moment, you know, you know, I'm kind of putting my sort of career back on track, and I suppose it's kind of recognition, and that's quite a nice feeling, you know. I think of myself as being a lot more organised now. So, you know, for the first time in years, I actually bothered to sort of, you know, campaign to get votes, which is something I never did before. So, you know, it's just really about me being on top of my career, and just feeling very passionate about what I do again, you know. Very, very passionate and very excited, and actually enjoying it in a way that perhaps I didn't at the kind of height of my career. You know, I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't know how to enjoy it. So that's come with age. You know, I'm able to put things in perspective now, and I'm able to say, to know what's important and what's not important.
Yeah, you had turbulent times in your life, but I think you look great. You're feeling good at the moment.
Yeah, you know, I'm working on myself. I'm a work in progress.
Everybody does. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think, you know what, you know, some people say, what I do know is that you don't get older and wiser just because you get older. You have to kind of make a decision to change. And you know, when I was, you know, much younger, I probably would have said people don't change, you know. But I know that they do. You know, I've changed a lot in the last 5 years. You know, a lot of things have happened to me, and they've had a profound effect on me as a person. But I think it might sound a bit silly to say, but I'm a better person for it. You know, I think I've come out of the other end of that with a different outlook to everything in my life. You know, and that's got to be a good thing. You know.
I saw you twittering about Eckhart Tolle. He's one of my favorite writers.
Really, I mean, that
I had to discuss this with you.
No, absolutely. I mean, you know, that book changed my life. You know, I mean, I've read a lot of spiritual books. I've done a lot of kind of, you know, I've been on lots of spiritual journeys in my life. You know, and I think the thing about Eckhart Tolle is that it's so common sense. You know, everything I read in that book I've read before, but somehow when I read it before, it was hard to assimilate. And when I read that book, I was like, wow, this is a lot of the things that he says I've always thought, but I couldn't really put them into words. And I think that what he does is he makes it simple to understand things that are on one level very complex, but on the other hand, are actually common sense, you know. And one of the biggest things that I learned from that book was that I have a choice about everything I feel. I always have a choice, no matter how extreme the situation, I have a choice about how I respond to that. And I think that's an amazing thing. You know, when I kind of discovered that, it seemed like it was an epiphany, but it was like, that's it. It's annoying. Actually, I was like, it's taking me all this time, you know, a lot of kind of heartache and you know, pain to kind of get to that point. But yeah, I think he's a genius, absolute genius.